This fanfiction is only for entertainment purposes, so please don't take it seriously and don't be offended. It's just a story made out of imagination, so it doesn't define any character in real life. I hope you'll enjoy the story and leave positive comments without hating the author and character. I don't own any pictures, but the storylines are completely mine. I will do voiceover so you can mute it if you want. Hope you will like the video.
The first time I saw him, I knew he was dangerous. Not just dangerous, but the kind of man who could kill you with a smile and make you thank him for it. Jungkook. The most feared Mafia king. Cold, ruthless, manipulative. Everyone trembled when they heard his name. But now, here I was, standing in his mansion, holding a tray of food, because apparently, I was his new caretaker. I didn't agree to this. Well, technically, I did. But that's only because I thought caretaker meant cooking and cleaning for a normal human. Not babysitting a psycho who could buy and sell my life before I blinked. The door to his bedroom was half open. I pushed it gently and stepped inside. He was sitting on the bed, messy black hair falling over his forehead, tattoos peeking from under his loose black shirt, silver chains around his neck, and a look in his eyes that could freeze your soul. But here's the twist: the moment his eyes met mine, that deadly glare turned into something else. A slow smirk. Jungkook, finally. You're here, doll. His voice was deep, raspy, almost sinful. I froze. I brought your lunch. I muttered, placing the tray on the side table. He didn't even glance at it. Instead, he leaned back lazily, his eyes traveling up and down my body shamelessly. His lips curved. Jungkook, you know, if you're gonna take care of me, you'll have to stay close. Very close. I rolled my eyes. You're not a baby, Jungkook. You can eat by yourself. In one swift move, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me toward him. I stumbled, landing against his chest. His scent hit me, expensive cologne mixed with danger. Jungkook, oh, but I am a baby. He whispered in my ear, voice dripping with fake innocence. Jungkook, you're baby. My heart skipped. You're insane. He chuckled darkly, brushing his thumb over my lower lip. Jungkook, completely. Isn't that why you are here as my caretaker doll? I tried to pull away from his grip, but Jungkook's hand only tightened around my wrist. Let me go. I hissed. His smirk deepened. Jungkook, no. That one word, sharp, final, like a command. Jungkook. Before I could finish, he tugged me harder, making me fall onto his lap. My palms pressed against his chest, feeling his steady heartbeat under the thin fabric of his shirt. Jungkook, you think you can just come in here, serve me food, and leave? His voice was low, playful, but his eyes burned with something more dangerous. Jungkook, no, doll. That's not how this works. I swallowed. I'm your caretaker, not your. He tilted his head, lips brushing my ear. He chuckled darkly. Jungkook, not my what? Girlfriend? Wife? Property? Too late, you're already mine. Yours? I scoffed, trying to hide the way my pulse was racing. You don't own me. Jungkook, don't I? His fingers slid up to my jaw, gripping it gently but firmly, making me look at him. His gaze was hypnotic, a mix of sin and obsession. Jungkook, you take care of me, you stay in my house, you breathe my air. You're already in my cage, sweetheart. And you know what happens to pets in my cage? I glared at him. What? His lips curved into a wicked smile. Jungkook, they never leave. He leaned in so close that his breath fanned over my lips. My hands instinctively pushed at his chest, but he caught my wrists again and pinned them above my head, still keeping me on his lap. Jungkook, you smell like trouble. He whispered, his voice so deep it sent shivers down my spine. Jungkook, and I like trouble. YN, you're insane. I breathed. Jungkook, and you're staying. He replied without hesitation, his thumb now lazily tracing the corner of my mouth as if he was memorizing it. Jungkook, you're mine to look at, mine to touch, mine to play with, mine to ruin if I want. The dangerous part? I could tell, he meant every word. The next morning, I woke up with one goal, avoid Jungkook at all costs. I thought it would be easy. The mansion was huge, with endless hallways and rooms. Surely I could disappear for a few hours. I was wrong. Because Jungkook didn't look for people. He hunted them. I was in the kitchen, quietly making coffee, when I felt it, someone standing right behind me. Before I could turn, two strong arms wrapped around my waist from behind, caging me against the counter. Jungkook, good morning, baby. He murmured, voice thick with sleep. His hair was messy, tattoos on his arm visible as his bare forearm pressed against mine. I froze. YN, Jungkook, what are you doing here? He nuzzled his face into my neck like an oversized cat. Jungkook, looking for you. YN, it's 7 a.m. I tried to step away, but his grip only tightened. Jungkook, exactly. I woke up, you weren't in my bed. I twisted my head to glare at him. YN, your bed? He smirked. Jungkook. Where else should my caretaker sleep? I rolled my eyes. YN, I'm not sleeping in your bed. Jungkook, then I'll sleep in yours. His tone was casual, but his smirk was pure sin. YN, Jungkook. Before I could finish, he reached over and took the coffee mug I had just poured for myself. Jungkook, mine. He said, taking a slow sip while looking directly into my eyes. YN, that was mine. I snapped. He leaned closer, his lips brushing my ear. Jungkook, everything of yours, is mine, sweetheart. You'll learn that. I turned to grab another cup, but he caught my wrist and made me face him. His gaze softened, just for a moment. Jungkook, stay with me today. He said, almost like a request but with the weight of an order. YN, and if I don't? I asked, raising a brow. His smirk returned. Jungkook, then I'll follow you everywhere. Even to the bathroom. I thought Jungkook was joking when he said he'd follow me everywhere. He wasn't. From the moment I stepped out of the kitchen, he was behind me, hands in his pockets, lazy smirk on his lips, eyes fixed on me like I was the only thing worth looking at in this entire mansion. I tried walking faster. He matched my speed. I turned down another hallway. He turned too, his gaze never leaving me. Finally, I spun around. YN, do you not have a mafia empire to run? He tilted his head, the corner of his mouth lifting. Jungkook, I do. But right now, my empire can burn for all I care. You're my priority. I blinked. YN, you're insane. Jungkook, He hummed, stepping closer until I was backed against the wall. His palm rested flat beside my head, trapping me. Jungkook, and you like it? Before I could respond, he reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. His fingers lingered against my cheek, the touch softer than I expected from a man like him. Jungkook. You're not used to being watched, are you? He whispered. YN, it's creepy. I shot back. He smirked. Jungkook, good. Then you know you can't do anything without me knowing. You're under my eyes, all the time. I shoved him lightly and walked away, but of course, I heard his footsteps follow. Even when I went to the library to read, he sat in the chair opposite mine, legs spread, eyes locked on me, not even pretending to be interested in a book. When I got up to grab water, he was already leaning against the fridge, waiting. By afternoon, I was done. YN, why are you so clingy today? I asked, exasperated. He leaned in, his lips brushing my ear just enough to make my breath hitch. Jungkook, because, baby. His voice dropped, dark and possessive. Jungkook, I don't trust the world with you. And if anyone even looks at you, I'll kill them before they blink. The dangerous glint in his eyes told me he meant it. By the time night fell, I was ready to lock my door and enjoy a peaceful, Jungkook-free sleep. I slipped into bed, pulled the blanket over my head, and sighed. Peace at last. Wrong. Not even 10 minutes later, my door clicked open. I peeked out from under the blanket to see Jungkook standing there, leaning against the doorframe like he owned the place, which, unfortunately, he did. YN, what do you want? I groaned. He walked in without answering, shutting the door behind him. Jungkook, move over. He said casually. I sat up. YN, what? No. This is my room. He smirked. Jungkook, exactly. Which means I can be here. Before I could argue, he kicked off his shoes and climbed into bed beside me. His arm slid around my waist, pulling me against his chest like it was the most natural thing in the world. YN, Jungkook. Jungkook, shoo, I can't sleep without you. He murmured, nuzzling into my hair. I scoffed. YN, we've never slept together before. Jungkook. Exactly, which is why I couldn't sleep last night. He said, as if that made perfect sense. I tried to wriggle free, but his grip only tightened. YN, you're suffocating me. He chuckled low against my ear, sending shivers down my spine. Jungkook, good. Then you'll know you're mine. YN, Jungkook. Jungkook, baby. He interrupted, his voice deep and soft. Jungkook, do you have any idea what it does to me when you're not in my sight? My head goes crazy. My chest feels empty. And when I finally get you back. His hand slid slowly from my waist to my hip. Jungkook, I'm not letting go. I froze. My heartbeat was loud in my ears. Jungkook, relax, I'll behave, unless you want me to misbehave. He whispered, his lips grazing my temple. He pulled the blanket over both of us, tangling his legs with mine. His warmth, his scent, his presence, it was overwhelming. YN, you can't just sleep here every night. I muttered weakly. He smirked against my skin. Jungkook. Watch me. I woke up in the middle of the night feeling trapped. Not because of the blanket. Not because of the bed. But because of the iron grip of Jungkook's arm around my waist. I tried to shift, but his hold only tightened. Jungkook, don't. He murmured, half asleep but still sounding like he owned my every breath. YN, Jungkook, I need water. I whispered. His eyes cracked open just enough to reveal that dangerous glint. Jungkook, no. I blinked. YN, no? Jungkook, you're not going anywhere. He said simply, pulling me closer until my back was flush against his chest. His warm breath brushed my neck, making my skin tingle. Jungkook, baby, it's 3 a.m. The world is dark, the air is cold, and you're mine. You think I'm letting you walk around alone? YN, I'm not a child. I hissed, still trying to wiggle free. He chuckled softly, his lips grazing the shell of my ear. Jungkook, you're worse. You're my weakness. And I don't let my weaknesses wander. YN. Jungkook. Suddenly, he flipped me onto my back, caging me under him. His hands pressed into the mattress on either side of my head, his hair falling over his forehead, tattoos shadowing over his veiny arms. Jungkook, you keep trying to run and all it does is make me want to keep you closer. He said in a low, amused tone. YN, this isn't keeping me close. This is kidnapping, I muttered, glaring up at him. His lips curled into a smirk. Jungkook, exactly. Before I could react, he lowered himself until his nose brushed mine. His voice was almost a whisper, but it was laced with heat. Jungkook, you can try to leave. You can fight me. But, baby. His thumb brushed my lower lip slowly. Jungkook, you'll still wake up in my arms every single time. My breath caught. YN, you're insane. He grinned, leaning down to press a slow, lingering kiss to my forehead. Jungkook, and you're stuck with me. He lay back down, pulling me against his chest again, his leg hooking over mine like a lock. I realized then, he wasn't going to let go. Not tonight. Not ever. It had been a month. 30 days of Jungkook shadowing my every step. At first, it was suffocating. Now? I didn't like admitting it, but I missed him when he wasn't glued to me. And the man? Oh, his clinginess had only gotten worse. His hands always found some part of me, my waist, my wrist, my cheek, my thigh, like he couldn't function without contact. And the teasing. God, the teasing was relentless. Jungkook, baby. He murmured one afternoon, sliding up behind me while I was reading in the library. His fingers brushed over my waist, slow and lazy, before resting there. YN, I hummed, not looking up from the book. Jungkook, do you even know how distracting you are? His voice was low, dangerous in that playful way of his. I smirked without glancing at him. YN, and you think you're any better? He chuckled, the sound deep and sinful, before taking the book from my hands and tossing it on the couch. Jungkook, enough of that. I need you to listen. I turned to face him, and that's when I saw it, his eyes darker than usual, but not in anger. This was something else. He began, cupping my face with both hands. Jungkook, YN, you're mine. That's been true from the first day you stepped into my life. But now. He paused, his thumb stroking my cheek. Jungkook, I want you to say it's mutual. I raised a brow. YN, mutual? He smirked. Jungkook, I'm asking you out, doll. Be my girlfriend. My heart skipped. YN, that's not really asking, Jungkook. That's more like telling. His grin widened, but his voice softened. Jungkook, I'm telling you because the thought of you saying no makes me want to burn down the whole world. His lips brushed my forehead. Jungkook, so, be smart. Say yes. A shiver ran through me. Romantic? Yes. Scary? Also yes. But, my lips curled into a small smile. YN, yes. The next second, he pulled me into his chest, his arms wrapping around me like he never planned to let go. His face buried in my neck, breathing me in like I was oxygen. Jungkook, good girl. He murmured against my skin, the satisfaction in his tone making my heart race. We ended up on the couch, tangled together under a blanket, his hand tracing slow patterns on my back while I rested my head on his chest. His heartbeat was steady, strong, mine was matching it without me even realizing. Jungkook, I told you. He whispered, pressing a kiss to the top of my head. Jungkook, you'll never get rid of me. And for the first time, I didn't want to. It had been 3 months now. 3 months of waking up tangled in Jungkook. If you told me back then that I'd want his suffocating presence, I would have laughed in your face. Now? I couldn't sleep without him pressed against me. And he knew it. Which made him even worse. I was in the kitchen, wearing one of his shirts because I'd stopped bothering to wear my own. He walked in, hair damp from a shower, towel around his neck, tattoos still glistening from water. His eyes immediately found me, and darkened in that way that made my stomach flip. Jungkook, you're wearing my shirt again. He said, his tone low, dangerous, but pleased. You leave them everywhere. I replied, trying to sound casual. He closed the distance in 3 long steps, backing me against the counter. Jungkook, that's because I want to see you in them. He murmured, his hand sliding up my thigh until his palm rested firmly against my hip. His thumb stroked my skin lazily. Jungkook, better yet. I want to see you out of them. My breath hitched. Jungkook. His other hand came up to cradle my jaw, tilting my face toward him. Jungkook, baby, you don't understand. He whispered, leaning in until our noses brushed. His smirk deepened. Jungkook, I'm addicted to touching you. The moment you're not in my arms, my chest feels empty. My hands feel useless. My head goes a little crazy. You're already crazy. I said softly, trying not to melt. He chuckled, low and sinful, before his lips brushed my ear. Jungkook, and you love it. His arms wrapped fully around me, pulling me against his bare chest. The hard lines of his body pressed into me, his heat seeping through the thin fabric of his shirt on my skin. He kissed the side of my neck, slow and deliberate, before speaking again. Jungkook, you're mine, And not just in the way I said before. You're mine to hold, to touch, to ruin, to fix, and I'm never letting anyone else even breathe your air. My heart was hammering, my fingers clutching at his shoulders. Jungkook. He pulled back just enough to look into my eyes. Jungkook, tell me you're mine. I'm yours. I whispered, almost breathless. His smile was slow, wicked, satisfied. Jungkook, good. He scooped me up in his arms like I weighed nothing, carrying me toward the bedroom. I didn't even protest anymore, didn't want to. By the time we hit the bed, I was already wrapped in him again, his leg hooking over mine, his hand on the small of my back, his lips brushing my hairline. Jungkook, I told you. He murmured, pressing a kiss to my temple. Jungkook, I'm your shadow. Your air. Your prison. And your comfort. I looked up at him, smiling faintly despite the heat between us. And I told you. I don't want to escape. His grin widened, and he pulled me closer, so close there was no space left between us. And that's exactly how we stayed. The end.